I'm Carol Stehl, and welcome to Sun and Moon's live stream YouTube channel. Um, we're going to do a breath of spring flow today. Okay, so we're going to really zero in on the breath. Not that we don't always do that in our yoga practice, but we're going to practice a special breath called envelope breathing. Okay, so envelope breathing requires mindful attention to what you're doing every single moment, and that's something we're cultivating in our yoga practice. So I just think this breath is wonderful. It also increases breath capacity, and it works like this. So each breath initiates each movement. So we're going to begin the inhalation, then begin the movement, all within the same second. And then after the movement finishes, then you finish the inhalation. Same thing on the exhale. So you begin the exhale and then begin the movement, in the movement, and then in the exhale. So that's a long drawn out way of saying that we're actually enveloping the flow of the pose with each phase of the breath. Okay, so the breath rules. Okay, so if you also practice Ujjayi breathing, it's a great complement to this breath. But if you're not familiar with Ujjayi breathing, then just forget what I just said. And it's totally optional. And you don't really need anything special today, but you might need a block. If you don't have a block, that's no problem at all. Okay? So let's get started. Just come to your mat and stand in a standing position. I'll meet you there. Okay? So, standing with your feet at a comfortable distance apart. Doesn't matter where you're standing on your mat. And lift the toes all the way up. Spread the toes wide and just begin to feel the engagement of your arches against the ground. So really grounding through the arches of the feet as there are you flexing your toes up or extending your toes up, and then lower your toes, keeping that arch engaged. And just lower your gaze towards the ground or close your eyes just for a moment of centering. Activating the legs, tone the belly slightly, and raise up through the sides of your torso and your spine and all the way up to the crown of the head. And just notice, just check in with your body. What's going on in there? And check in with your mind. What's going on in there? Just noticing, no judgment. Just checking in with yourself. Noticing also what's on your heart. And then with your next breath in, gently open your eyes. We're going to take a few cleansing breaths. So to do these breaths, we're going to breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth. And we're going to really gush it out through the mouth, okay? So as we breathe in through the nose, we're going to take the arms up. And breathe out, bend the knees, out through the mouth. Inhale. Out through the mouth, exhale. And again. 3 more times. Really stretching up, letting go of everything on that exhale. And then coming back to center. So you can stay where you are. We're just standing still. And we're going to bring our hands to our thighs. And then we're just going to curl the tailbone up, draw the shoulders back, and look up at the ceiling. And then round the back. Reverse the arch, round the back, coming into that Halloween cat shape. Navel draws back towards the spine, dangle the head. Really lift that middle back up towards the sky. So now let's start the envelope breathing. So begin to breathe in and then begin to come into the hammock back. And at the top of the inhale, then you're going to reverse exhale, rounding. Finish the rounding, then finish the exhale. Begin to inhale, begin the movement. And just keep going. This envelope breathing tends to slow the breath down, which is going to slow your movement down because the breath is guiding you through your practice. Ujjayi breathing if you like. No worries if you don't know Ujjayi. And let's take 2 more rounds. Now, please note that so that I'm not breathing at your pace or trying to set the pace of your breath, you can move ahead of me. You can take faster movements, or you can slow yours down based on how you are doing your envelope breathing. And then coming back to a level back, and then coming all the way up. And now we're going to, you can still stay where you are on your mat. I'm just moving so that you can see me with the best angle. Okay, so we're going to raise one arm, bend the knee of the same side, pick up that heel, reach up, and then change sides. Arm comes up, bend the knee, lift the heel, and then go back and forth. Now begin your envelope breathing. Let the breath guide you. This is cherry picking. Perhaps reaching up a little higher as that side of your body wants to open up, as it starts to warm up. Let's pick a few more cherries. One more time each side. Really reaching. And then coming back to center. Okay, so now let's separate the feet wide apart and face the long edge of the mat. And turn the toes out. Turn the toes out. And then give a little bend to the knees, okay? Bend the knees slightly. Just a little bit. Just don't want to lock those knees. You want them, keep them fluid. Okay, and so let's bring one shoulder up, back, and down. Then the other shoulder up, back, and down. We're making great big rolls with the shoulders. And then wrap this movement with your breath. Wrap your breath around the movement. Begin the inhale, then begin the movement. Begin the exhale, then begin the movement. You decide where you're going to add your movement within the breath. And again, it's probably going to slow you down a little bit. Notice how that affects you, that idea. Some people like slow, some people don't. And then the next time you lift a shoulder, just lunge, bend that knee to that side. And then as you lift the other shoulder, lunge to the other side and just go back and forth. Getting the knees involved, the hips, the legs. And maybe starting to pick up the elbows, making the movements a little more grand. Maybe turning the head to the side you're lunging to. If you want to get your neck involved. And then perhaps even bringing a hand to the shoulder and then really raising those elbows up, making the movement even more grand. My grandmother used to use that word all the time. It's perfectly grand, she'd say. So make it perfectly grand for you. Couple more times each side. Staying really grounded through the arches in those feet. And then working your way back to center. And release the arms. Okay. So now let's keep the legs wide apart, and then but turn the toes forward, straight forward. So they're pointing straight towards the edge of your long edge of your mat. And if you have your block handy, go ahead and grab your block. Okay? Grab your block and have it right on your mat, and let's just reach for the block or reach for the floor. Okay, so and have the block or your hands directly underneath your heart. Okay? And so from here, we're going to lengthen through the spine, from the crown of the head all the way to the tailbone. Get really long and draw the shoulders back slightly. Just don't want to be rounding. And then let's take a full breath in here. As you exhale, take one arm up, coming into a twist, keeping the hips level, and then waiting for an inhale to come back down. And then other side. Exhaling up. Hips stay level. Inhaling, coming down. And just go back and forth. Moving with the breath. Letting the breath lead you into the pose and out of the pose. And you can add some neck action by watching your hand as you take it up towards the ceiling, or not. You can also reverse the suggestion of exhaling up and inhaling down. You can reverse that and see if that works better for you. I like to exhale as I move into a twist. And one more time each side. Coming back to center. And then let's bend the knees. Bring the hands to the hips with a nice level back. Come all the way up. Okay, and so from here, we're going to turn one foot towards the short edge of the mat. Doesn't matter which foot. And then the back foot is going to turn in at an angle. Okay, so let's bend that front leg and then really ground down through the arches of those feet. Imagine you're just like pushing the mat apart with your feet, and you're getting really snuggled into the earth. Okay? So grounding down, front knee bent, back leg is nice and engaged. Okay, and then take the arms out. And so breathing in first, then bring the arms up, straighten the knee, and maybe look straight ahead. And then exhale, bring the gaze back over the hands and come back into warrior two. So let's flow like this at your own pace. Again, you can slow it down or speed it up. You don't have to you don't have to breathe with me. If I weren't talking, I'd probably be slowing it down even more. If we're speeding up, I don't know what I would be doing. It would be different. So surround the pose, the flow, with your breathing, staying very tuned in. And let's take 2 more rounds here. And then bring the arms down, bring the feet, point the feet straight ahead, and let's turn to the other side. Okay? So what was the back foot becomes the front foot. Point straight towards the edge of the mat, the short edge, and then back foot at an angle. Nice and activated back leg. Bend the front leg. Ground down through those arches of the feet. Push the mat apart with the feet. Take the arms out. And this time, same thing. Inhale up. Exhale, come down into the warrior two. You can keep your head stationary or you can turn it like I am. Turning over the hand, the front hand, and then over the chest. Let's take 3 more rounds. Okay, bring the arms down. Now let's pivot back to the first side. Same stance. Back foot at an angle, front foot pointing straight ahead, bending the knee over the heel. Back leg activated, arms up. And now take the front arm, bring the forearm to the thigh. And then we're going to take the top arm up and either leave it here or you can bring it over the ear or somewhere in between. Okay, so side angle. We're going to come back into warrior two, keep the knee bent, and then back into the side angle. Taking your arm over as far as is comfortable for you. Let the breath take you into the side angle. Let it take you into the warrior two. And let's take 2 more rounds here. And then come back up, straighten that front leg. Let's pivot the feet to the other side. Same thing, bend the knee over the heel. Back leg is activated. Shoulders relaxed. Release the forearm to the thigh, take the top arm up. Either leave it here or bring it somewhere further over, closer to the ear. Let an inhale bring you up. Keep the front knee bent. Let the exhale take you over. And let's take 2 more rounds. And back to warrior two. And straighten that front leg. And let's pivot all the way back around to the other side. And now for the back leg, let's pivot all the way around so the toes are curled under. Okay, and let's lower all the way down to a low lunge. Okay, you can point the back toes. And you can add some padding for your knees if you like. Be nice to your knees. You want them to carry you around a little longer. Okay, so from here, let's take the arms up. Now, this requires a little bit of balance, so you can also leave your hands on your thighs if you don't want to take your arms up. So push into that front foot to get really grounded. Arms come up if you're taking them up. And breathe in here. And then as you exhale, exhale, and then take the front leg towards straight, bring the arms down. Maybe find a little spot on the floor or the wall in front of you to focus on. And let's just go back and forth, enveloping your flow with your breathing. Inhaling, coming forward. Exhaling, coming back. And let's take 3 more rounds. If you're slowing down, that may be 2 rounds. If you're going quicker, it might be 4 rounds. Be sure to breathe according to your body's breath, not mine. And last one. And then to change sides, you can either just change your feet right here, which is what I'm going to do, or you can just turn around to the other side of your mat. Okay, so I'm going to flip, just change sides. And either hands on the thighs or arms up. And so breathe in, taking your arms up if they're going up, and then breathing out, bringing them down, straightening the front leg. And let's take 3 more rounds. And then let's release out of this. And then come onto both knees and face the long edge of your mat. I'm going to move my blanket out of the way. And then we're going to bring the hands to the floor and then start separating the knees as far apart as they'll go. Okay? So, and then line up your feet with your knees if you can. Okay? So feet are lined with the knee as opposed to feet together. The feet are directly behind the knees. Okay? And separate the knees further apart. Don't take it so far that you're in pain. Okay? So now, let's come on to the forearms. And we're going to do a really easy, very slow, gentle flow here in this frog pose. Okay, so as you breathe in and bring the hips back. Maybe they'll only move a fraction of an inch. This is very subtle. And then coming forward on the exhale. Or you can inhale forward and exhale back. Up to you. This is very intense, so take it real easy. You might find that after a few rounds, you start to open up a little more and go a little deeper. Let the breath take you in and out. Keeping the collarbones wide. A couple more times here. Okay, good. Now let's release and bring the hands back up. And then slowly bring one knee in a little bit and then the other knee. And then the other knee, just inch your way back, knees together. And then swing the legs over to one side and come to sitting. With your feet in front of your hips. Okay? And then let's bring the arms inside the legs. And you can reach for somewhere along the shin or on the ankles, or you can take the toe lock. Take the toe lock if it doesn't make your back round. Okay, so the toe lock is the first 2 fingers of each hand wrapped around the big toe. Okay, so I'm going to do the toe lock. I'm going to turn to the side a little bit. Okay, so again, hands on the shins, ankles, or the toe lock. Get really tall, super tall here. And so then let's bring one foot off the floor. One heel comes off the floor, and then when you're ready, the other heel, balancing on the sit bones. Okay, so from here, you can either stay here. This can be plenty of work for some of us. Or maybe you want to play around with taking that one leg towards straight. Doesn't have to be straightened all the way. And then try the other side. If you're going for the extension, focus on something. One pointed focus. You yogis. And then you can either keep going one side at a time, or perhaps you want to play with taking both sides at one time. Stay open through the heart center. Lift the heart up. And breathe in. And as you exhale, let's bring the heels back down. All right. So let's do a twist. A twist coming all the way onto your back. Come all the way down. And then let's cross one leg, one ankle on top of the other thigh, and take your arms all the way out to the sides. And then just start rocking from side to side. Just rocking back and forth. Noticing what's going on in there as you move the legs from one side to the other. And then eventually coming all the way over to the side where you can place your foot down onto the ground, coming into the twist. And then you can roll your head in the opposite direction. And just breathe here, enjoying the twist. See if you can release somewhere, maybe in the shoulders, maybe in the face. Good, and let's take one more breath here, in and out. And then let an inhale bring you up. Extend that leg up in the air and lower. And let's change sides. Opposite leg on the thigh, ankle on the thigh. And then begin your rocking side to side. And then float the foot down towards the floor so that you could perhaps rest that foot on the floor and roll your head to the opposite side and enjoy the twist. Notice where you're feeling any resistance and see if you can soften there. Just take a little scan of the body. Where can I let go? Breathe into that spot or those spots. And let's take one more breath in and out here. And then let an inhale bring everything back up to center, your head, your legs. Extend that leg up. Bring it back down to the floor. And let's bring the knees one at a time, but bring them both into the chest. And hug your knees. And if you'd like, bring your nose to your knees and your knees to your nose. And then release your head back down and perhaps rock from side to side. Perhaps cross the ankles and take some sacrum rolls. And then reverse the direction. And then coming back to center, uncross the ankles. Let's roll to one side, taking your time, pushing yourself all the way back up. And come to sit. Perhaps sit on a blanket or a block, or just sit on your mat. And then resting your hands on your thighs, palms down, palms up. Just do what works best for you right now. And sitting up tall and lowering your gaze towards the ground or closing your eyes. And once again, check in with yourself. Notice how you feel in your body. Notice if there have been any shifts in the way you feel now versus 30 minutes ago. We're not looking for any particular outcome or result. We're just noticing. As yogis, we just notice and observe. No judgment, no analysis, just notice. Checking in with your mind. What's going on in there? What's on your heart? And let's bring the hands together in front of the heart. And perhaps bring to mind something or someone that you're grateful for. And perhaps more than one thing or person will flood into your mind. And then from your mind, let that gratitude drop into your heart. And just feel your heart welling up with gratitude. And then let that gratitude permeate through your whole body. Thank you for joining me today. Namaste. Thank you so much. See you next time.